also my screen is visible. Recording also has done.
Yeah.
And my screen
Slowly,
is visible.
yeah, it's loading, Vamshi. I can see a blank. So yeah, now I can see.
Yeah. So today package name is Numpy. Basically, Numpy is used to deal with n-dimensional arrays. Okay, deal with n-dimensional. To install the Numpy, simply go for the Google. Okay, we don't know how to install the package, right? So for installing purpose, simply search the package name Numpy. This is the official website of Numpy package. Okay, so each and every packages have their own official websites. Okay, they require the documentations for the each and every packages. So this is a official website of the Numpy. And installation of Numpy, we have two types of installation. We are using Anaconda prompt also we have, or simply we can use the pip installation. So if you want to install this Numpy in your Jupyter notebook, simply use this pip command. Either you want to install using the prompt, that is only the Anaconda prompt. This is a Conda prompt, Anaconda prompt. So through this, if you want to install, you can use the commands of Conda command. So directly, if you want to install in the Jupyter, simply use this pip command. Simply use this pip command. So just copy this command or copy this command. Go for the Jupyter. Paste. In front of the code, you need to mention. In front of the code, you need to mention exclamatory symbol. If you mention this exclamatory symbol, it means it is installing the packages, any type of things. You are doing installation in the Jupyter. If you mention exclamatory symbol, it means you are installing something. Okay, you are installing something. Simply run this code. If the requirement is already satisfied, it shows the requirement satisfied. If it is not, it will install the each and every packages. Okay, already requirement has satisfied. So by default, Numpy is also installed when you are installing the Anaconda. So around 300 plus packages are defaultly installed, but there is a totally 11,000 packages present. So remaining packages, if you want, you can install like this. Simply go for the Google, type which type of package did you require, and copy the pip command and come to the Jupyter notebook, paste the code in a cell. In front of the code, you need to mention exclamatory symbol. In front of the code, you need to mention exclamatory symbol. If exclamatory symbol is required as you are installing something in a Jupyter notebook. Okay, you are installing something in a Jupyter notebook. So that is the installation process. Let me overview of this complete Numpy. So Numpy is used to deal with the n-dimensional arrays. So for our eyes, we can able to see only three-dimensional arrays, height, width, depth, but we can't able to see n-dimension. That's why we use this n-dimensional array Numpy. So it is a scientific calculations for purposing of doing scientifically. And if you want more in detail about this, so this is the documentation. You can follow this documentation completely. You can follow this documentation completely. So why we use the Numpy exactly? What is the purpose of Numpy? What is the functions of Numpy? These are the functions we will discuss right now. So what is arrays? For the interview base, if you want to prepare for the interview base, you can go through the things. Okay. So how to convert the arrays 2D, 3D, and everything we will discuss in this class. So if you want to more about the things, you can go directly to the official website, go for the document, open the document, read yourself. That's completely, and you can understand. It is a simple English language only they are represented. Okay, so this is completely NumPy. So after installing of NumPy, we need to import that number. So once the package has been installed, we need to use that package. That's why we are using one type of function, that is import. By using the import function, we can import the NumPy. Whatever the packages, if we want to use, we simply import the packages or frameworks. Okay, import numpy. I am importing numpy as a np. Here np is a shortcut. Okay, here np is a shortcut for the numpy package. Whenever if you want to use the numpy, we can simply represent the np. Where because np is a shortcut of numpy. We are importing the np as a we are importing the numpy as a np. ఇక్కడ numpy అనేది నేను np లా షార్ట్కట్ లా తీసుకుంటున్నా. So I don't want to write 5 lines of 5 words, just 2 words of things. You can use anything. You can use anything. Okay, you can use t, you can use a, anything. So the package is represented as a small letters like shortcut form. Okay,
So
this
it's
is
like
a
a variable. You're giving a variable to numpy, is it?
వేరియబుల్ అని కాదండి. ఇది ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది?
alias.
It's a short form, so we don't require to
Okay.
use this huge amount of 5 words.
Okay.
Okay, just to short form లో తీసుకుంటాం. Okay,
Okay.
okay, సింపుల్ గా రన్ చేస్తాం. ఇంపోర్ట్ numpy as np. So by default, normal ga if you go for the website also, they mention the import numpy as np. So in the interviews, they will make it confused for you. Import numpy as pd, import numpy as mlt, import numpy as np. Which one is the correct one? So everything is correct. 3 option is right because we are represent the numpy as a short form. That's it. We are represent the numpy as a short form. 3 options is correct. Okay, for the interviews, they will confuse like this. Okay, by default, if you go for the website, they mention import numpy as np. np by default. Okay, so np represent for the n dimensional array, like that they can be represented. Okay, let me create the array. Let me create the array. A equals to np dot array. I'm creating array. Okay, 1 2 3. A equals to np dot array. It's a one-dimensional array. It is a one-dimensional array. It is a one-dimensional array. So if you want to create two-dimensional array, b equals to np dot array. So in two-dimensional array, we are passing two single-dimensional arrays. Okay, two single-dimensional arrays is represented for the 2D array. Okay, if you want to create 3D array, in a 3D array, there is a representing of 2D, again 1D. In 2D, there is a 1D. So for blindly represent, like blindly గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవడానికి blind గా. So how many brackets are you are opening in front of square brackets? That is the representation of the dimensions. So if you open only single square bracket, it's represented for this single dimension. If you open 2 square brackets, it's represented for the 2D dimension. If you open 3 square brackets, it's represented for the 3D dimension. For blindly representations. So I'm creating these things. Print A, print B, print P. So this is the output. This is the output. So it is a single dimension array. We have 2 things. This is a 2-dimension array. Starting we have a 3. It's represented as a 3-dimensional array. If you have a 4, it represents as a 4-dimensional array. If you have a 10, it represents the 10-dimensional array. So basically, this concept works in the images. Okay, so images we have a n number of dimension of array. So for reducing that images, we use this numpy. Okay, for reducing that images dimensionality, we use this array format. Okay, this is a single dimension, double dimension, and triple dimension. Okay, clear? So you can, if you want to note down, you can. Data types. If you want to mention the data types like float or int, that comes just option. So if I mention this float data type, it will shows this point. Okay. Here I didn't mention anything. Default it will take int. If specifically I mention this data type equals to float or data type equals to float 32, float 64, that's a bit data type. So if you mention that data output of the data type will be for, same format. Do you have idea about matrix? Matrix. 3 by 2 matrix means 3 by 2 matrix. 2 by 4 matrix. Online, do you have idea about matrix?
No, no, Vamshi, not me.
Archana garu మీకు idea on the matrix?
యా కొంచెం అంటే చిన్నప్పుడు చదువుకున్నాం.
So complete Numpy is work on the matrix.
ఓకే.
So here the dimension. So if you see this one dimensional, there is only one row is there. 3 columns.
3 by 1.
No, not 1 by 3.
1 by 3, sorry. Yeah.
1 into 3 simply represent. So only one row, 3 columns. So here this is a row representation of row. This is a column representation. So we have a 3 columns, only single row. Okay, 3 columns, single row. Clear? So next, initial placeholders. Some of the operations we are working in the complete. So yeah, you need to write. So initial placeholders means simply some operations. We are doing some basic operations on the Numpy. So to create the matrices. Okay. If you want to create the matrix completely zero, we use some operation. If you want to create the matrix completely once, we use some matrix. If you want to create the matrix some random numbers. So for myself, I need to mention 5, your 10, like that. From the random numbers, we have some operations. So there is some basic operations to work on the Numpy. Okay. That is as a initial placeholders. Initial placeholders. Okay. So first initial placeholder is like zeros. So that is helps to create entire row with zeros. It is used to create entire whatever the things you have mentioned the array completely zero. Okay. So np dot that means numpy dot zeros zeros zeros. I'm passing 3 comma 4. Here 3 is represented of row, 4 is represented of column. So 3 into 4. So 3 rows, 4 columns need to be filled with a zeros. So this function works for that. If you want to fill the entire array with a zero, you can use this function as a zero. np dot zeros, whatever the things you want to, like number of rows and columns, how many if you want to make a zeros, simply use this function and pass the rows and columns. Okay, clear about this function?
Yeah.
Online, offline, both.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, next, same like that. If you want to create completely once, simply use this once method. Here the function is once. Simply use this once function. You can create the entire rows and columns with a one. Here is rows, columns, what is number of ఇక్కడ
Zeros for 3 and 4 itself. So 0, 4 columns.
అది ఏం డైమెన్షన్?
2 dimensions.
Yeah, I need to create 3 dimensions. So for creating of three dimension, we need to mention the shape. We need to mention the shape. So here the shape is 2. Shape is 2. So that means 2 shapes is created. In every 3D there is a 2D. In every 2D there is a 1D. So here in 3D it's a representation of 3D. In every 3D there is a 2D. This is a 2D. This is a 2D. In every 2D
Okay,
there is
so-
a 1D.
So Vamshi,
So it is a
when
shape. I mean, 1 second. It is a shape.
yeah, sure.
That means 2D shape. I need required 2 shapes. So with the 3,4. With the 3,4. If you mention the shape, rows, columns that represented for the 3D. That represented for the 3D. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Vamshi, I was just asking that since we are mentioning NP ones, so ones are just affecting the number that we are presenting and not the type of dimension that we want to create, right?
So here the number is a function. Like once is a function. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Once is a function. We complete the entire array. If you want to fill with ones, we can use this once. Complete
Okay.
array, completely array, fill it with zeros. We need to use this zeros.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's
it is
not
a
the
dimension.
dimension, basically. Yeah,
It's a
okay.
dimension. I need for in zeros. I need 3 rows, 4 columns. It's a 2D dimension. Okay,
Hmm.
2D. So if I want to create 3D dimension, I need to mention shape, comma, rows, comma, columns. Okay, this is a syntax for
Okay.
the 3D dimension. Height, width, depth, like that. So in 2D we only have a height and width. For the 3D dimension we have a depth. So that's why we are using shape here. So if we change the shape number also, it will change. Okay, how many shapes, like how many depth is required. Simply you can understand depth.
Yeah, got it.
Understand?
Yep.
Clear?
Yep, makes sense.
So next, creating an array, evenly spaced values. Creating an array to create evenly spaced values. So the space between one value and another value is evenly spaced. Okay. So for that, D equals to np dot arrange, array of range, a range, and the meaning of a range with array of range, starting with 10, ended with 25. It is need to jump 2 steps. It need to jump 2 steps. So apply the n-1 formula for end values and steps. You can apply. So 25 minus 1, 24. Any value need to be 24. So here the steps is 2, n-1, 2 minus 1, 1. So for each one, it will jump 1 step. 10, 1 step is jump. 12, 1 step is jump. 14, 1 step is jump. 15, 16, 1 step is jump. 18, 1 step is. So if we mention steps here, the 3 minus 1, 2, it will jump the 2 steps. It will jump the 2 steps. In starting value is 10. So 10 plus 2, 13. 13 plus 2, 15. Like that, it will jump the 2 steps, 2 steps, 2 steps. Clear? It will jump the 2 steps. But the difference is equal, evenly spaced. The difference is equal. Clear? The difference is equal. Clear or not?
Yes, yes.
Same here we have taken the randomly. Okay, here we taken the randomly, for like array, like some of the array. So if you use this line space means particular line, even spaces, even samples. If you want to create a even samples, we can use this line space. The spelling of line space LIN. by the pronunciation we are calling line space. Okay, spelling is different, pronunciation is line space. Okay, ప్రొనౌన్స్ చేసేటప్పుడు లైన్ స్పేస్ అంటాం, స్పెల్లింగ్ రాసేటప్పుడు LIN అని రాస్తాం. క్లియరా? ఓకే, NP డాట్ లైన్ స్పేస్ starting with 0 ended with 8. I need 8 samples between this 0 to 8. I need 8 samples between 0 to 8. So if you mention how many samples did you require, it will completely divide this 8 to 0 numbers in a number of samples, whatever the samples you require. So if you make any difference between one and another one, you get a equal. Okay, you can get 0.47, you get 4.7. So 4.7 minus 0.94, you get 4.7. So some variety of decimals is there, but approximately you get the same value if you make a difference between them. So to find the number of samples, if you want to find any number of samples between the particular values, you can use this line space. Okay, you can use this line space.
Vamshi, what's the
Yeah.
use of this line space?
So this is used in deep learning programs, sir. So if you have a n dimension of arrays, so for that we need to create some samples for training purpose.
Mhm.
So the samples need to be equal. Whatever the data we have, the samples which we create, that is need to be equal. That's why we use this.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Next one, create constants. Like whatever the values randomly, if you want to create the constant. I am creating 1D right now, 1D. So E equals to, E is a variable here, np dot full 2 comma 9. np dot full 2 comma 9. Here the 2 is representative of
Rows.
2 is representative of
Rows.
2 is the representative of
Rows, right?
2 is the
Rows or
representative of
column?
column. Here the
Column.
2 is representative of column.
Columns.
Okay, I need 2 columns and that column need to be filled with a 9. I need 2 columns, that column need to be filled with a 9. So it is a single dimension array. It is a single dimension. We have only one row. It represented as a single dimension array. So how can we find whether it is a single or multiple? How can we find? Means simply we have a small function that is n dimension. N-dim. Okay, if we use this n dimension, you can find the how many dimension of array you created, like type function. So which type of data is stored in a variable, we can usually identify by using the type function. So how much dimension of array is created, we can identify by using n dimension. So this is the thing, n dimension, to find the number of dimensions. To find the number of dimensions. To find the number of dimensions, we use this n dimension. Okay. So to create 1D dimension, we prefer for the columns. To create 1D dimension, we prefer for the column. To create 2D dimension, we prefer rows and columns. To create 3D dimension, we prefer shape, rows, columns. Shape, rows, columns. Same like that, if you want to create 2D dimension, E equals to np dot full 2 rows, 2 columns with the value of 9. Whatever the values, if you want to mention, you can mention with the value of anything. So to find the number of dimension, we use this nd dot e equals to num dimension, n dimension. We use this n dimension. Clear or not clear? Same for the 3D. Same for the 3D. Simply we represent the shape, row, columns with the value. Whatever the value, if you want to mention, that will be given out. Clear? Clear? Okay. I will show you to write the things. So you can note down. Completed? Completed. Everything is noted. So understand up to now. How do we create a 1D with completely zeros? How can we create the array with completely ones? How can we create with constant, whatever the random numbers if you want to mention? How can we create? How can we create the number of samples? How can we create the range of numbers? Here, everything is useful in data science projects. Okay. So next one is identity matrix. Do you have idea about identity matrix? Identity matrix means simply diagonal need to be values, remaining need to be a zero. Diagonal need to be values, remaining need to be zero. So here, if you want to access the identity matrix, use this function I. Use this function I. F equals to np dot I. I need 3 dimension. I need 3 dimension. Now I need 7. Okay. 7 rows, 7 columns. That means the diagonally need to be 7. Diagonals need to be 7. Diagonals means cross line. Yeah, like this. Here the ones are the cross line, right? Ones. So that is a diagonal. If you want the diagonal, how many number of rows? You can simply mention the single values. So if you mention 5, it creates the 5 diagonals. It mentions 7, it creates the 7 diagonals. If you mention 20, it creates the 20 diagonals. So diagonal in the format of like identity matrix is in the format of rows and columns. Clear? Next one, if you want to create a 2-dimensional with random numbers, if you want to create a 2-dimensional with random numbers, you can use this function nb.random.rand. nb dot from the random, I need to create a random of 2, 2. That means 2 rows, 2 columns. Okay. If you run this, values will be changed. See, have a look. Randomly, the values will be changed. Observing? Did you observe? Randomly, the values are changing, but the values is lies between 0 and 1. The values are lies between. So how many times I am running this code? Simply the values are lies between 0 and 1. Here, the values are lies between 0 and 1. That is, if you want to create a 2D array of randomly, if you want to generate random numbers, you can simply use this random function. We don't use anywhere this function, but we have some. That's it. We won't use any projects. Here, next concept is to find the shape of a array. To find the shape of a array. So shape means number of rows and number of columns. So to find the shape of an array, we use this shape function, shape method. Simply array is a variable where I store np.array. I created this is a shape, 2D shape, 2D dimension array. So to find the shape, that means shape represents the number of rows and number of columns present in an array. So for the array dot shape, if you use this array dot shape, shape is a function to find the number of rows and columns. Correct? 3 rows and 4 columns we have in a shape. 3 rows, 4 columns. 3 rows and 4 columns. Clear? To find the number of elements present in an array, we use this size. To find the total number of elements, simply you can multiply the rows and columns. Also, we can identify the numbers, total number of elements, or you can use this size method. Also, you can easily identify the total number of elements present in a array. NB dot array, same array and taken. So here there's 4 rows, 4 columns, right? 4 rows, 4 row columns. If you find this size, it has 16 elements. Simply you can multiply the rows and columns. Also, you can easily identify how many elements present in a array. How many elements present in a array? Okay. How many elements present in an array? So if you want to find the length of array, here only it is calculated the rows, not a column. Only to find the length, it calculates the rows. It only calculates the rows, not a columns. Only rows. So array equals to np dot array. I created the array. Length of len is a function. In data types we have already seen. Length of array. It only calculated the rows, not columns. Only rows. So here 4 rows. Now how many rows? What is the length of this rows? So it only calculates the rows, not a column. Okay. Up to now clear? Everything is not done. Today assignment is the same thing. You need to practice the thing. So open the Jupyter notebook and first install the Numpy. Tip install Numpy. In front of the installation, you need to mention the exclamatory symbol. So after installation, you need to mention this statement import Numpy as NP. Okay. This is you are using the package. Now you are using the Numpy package. So after that, create the arrays. Try to create at least 10 arrays. 1D, 2D, 3D, at least 10 1Ds, 10 2D, 10 3Ds. Okay. After that, go for the placeholders. So online, offline, any doubts up to now? Tomorrow
No,
we'll go
no doubt.
see how to access the elements from the arrays, data types. We will discuss about the data types and reshaping of arrays. So up to now, this is the topics and sentence. Okay.
Sure.
This reshaping is most important for the data science projects. Reshaping is most important. So accessing of elements is not that much of necessary, and data types is also not necessary, but reshaping is necessary. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So assignment is also clear. So try to do practice. Practice is more important.
Okay.
So that's it from my end, guys. If you don't have any doubts, you can leave the class. Thanks for joining the class. Have a nice day. Bye. Take care.
Thanks. Thanks, Vansh.
Last call.
Thanks, Mummy.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.